watching Rogers TV.
Welcome to Daytime Ottawa. Oh my goodness, what a great show we have for you today. A busy show. Sid Kratzbergen's here, the aristocrat of scent. We're going to be talking some latest trends when it comes to fragrance, talk a little pickleball, a great fundraiser. Marie Antoinette and company are here on the show today. If you've never been in their store, one of the most spectacular stores you will ever walk into. I was just saying to my first guest, I've never seen so many things packed into one space in my entire life, and all of it is absolutely beautiful. Sandora from A Cultivated Art joins me here on the show today because you've been sowing these winter seeds all winter long, and now we're starting to see them starting to pop up a little bit, right?
Yes. So I do have some that I brought indoors to get them germinating a little bit earlier because I happen to have access to a little bit of greenhouse space. It's unheated, but it keeps them out of the frost, so I can start a little bit earlier. So if anybody's out there looking at the winter sown seedlings and going, they're not up yet, they don't look like those, that's not a problem.
Okay.
They just need some more time. They're perfectly fine. You don't have to worry if they don't look as far along as these ones.
I can see viewers that are going, well, how do you have them?
Yet?
What's going? I see nothing. What's happening, Sandora? Don't panic, right?
Yes.
And if you've started them outside, if they can stay there, right?
Stay outside.
Okay.
They don't need to come in. I bring them in so I can get a head start because I literally transplant thousands and thousands of seedlings. So it gives me some time to do that. So they don't all have to be done right at the same time.
This is the meditative part of your job, you were saying, right?
Yes.
This is where you get to poke and prod and have some. So for those that didn't tune into that first time we talked about sowing seeds in the winter, so what have you done previous to this to make this all happen?
Yeah. So these little pots of seeds, these were actually planted back in sort of December and January. I worked my way through my long list and all my packets of seeds, and I wrote them little labels, and I put little bunches of spread seeds into the pots, and some of them got soil on top and some didn't because some need light to germinate.
Okay.
And there's lots that are still sitting outside, and they're just starting to germinate. I put them inside the little plastic clamshell containers that the peaches, we get peaches in that.
Yeah.
Keeps them a little bit protected, but it keeps them, they're vented enough that they cool off, they get the cold, which is the important part. And then this time of year, a lot of them are just starting to germinate. So some won't be up yet, but others, people will be looking at this little haze of green across the top of the soil.
Yeah.
So what do you do then when that haze of green comes up and you realize that you've just planted yourself 150 of something, because so many native plants, their seeds are so tiny, you do a little sprinkle, and they weren't far enough along to be able to really show on camera, but the ones we planted here in January, it's this little haze of green across the top of the soil. You'd have to be this close to see them. But there's probably that little pinch of, tiny pinch of seeds I put on. There's probably 80 plants in that pot.
So if you have them that close together, is that an issue?
It's not an issue, but it does leave a lot of people going, oh my God, now what?
Right. Because that's the exact thought I just had. So let's talk about that. Now what do I do?
So they actually, for one thing, a lot of perennials, they're a little bit slower growing than a lot of annuals. So a lot of people have grown like tomatoes and that, and everybody says, don't transplant them until such and such a size and that. Honestly, I actually tend to start the transplanting, and then the tray that I've got there, when I transplanted most of those, they just had their little germination leaves.
Really? Okay.
Because when you transplant them at that size, their roots aren't tangled together yet. So they're really quick. I can stand there and you can just pick one after another off of the bunch.
So you can actually just pull them at that size, is what you're saying?
You can plant them, but I'm going to show you how I actually do that, because that's the part that confuses a lot of people. First of all, you can't pull them out of the pot. You can't just get them.
Right.
You take the whole bunch out of the pot.
Okay.
And then I generally take some of the soil away, whatever's not got a lot of roots on it on the bottom, and then I split the clumps.
Gently.
Very gently.
Right.
And you want to do this when the soil is damp, but not really soggy, because if the soil's really soggy, it's like everything sticks together more.
Right.
So you don't water them right before you do it. Water them well, like the day before.
Okay.
And then when you're sort of getting to that point, and you can sort of start to untangle the clumps. And these ones are a little bit further along than they sometimes are when I start transplanting. But even still, the roots are pretty forgiving. You just need to sort of gently tease them apart.
Oh yeah.
And they will actually
It's actually pretty
apart.
Yeah, if you're
into
gentle enough
little
with them, they come apart
bunches.
quite nicely.
And you'll have a few small roots break, but as long as you've got a good little bunch of roots on the bottom, you're good. You've got that's a plant that will be perfectly happy, and it'll have more space to grow up than it did before. So when they were all crowded together in the pot, so they'll be happier with that little tiny bit of they're little tiny plants that got a little bit of root. But then what everybody goes is, how do I get that into the soil?
What the heck am I doing with that?
So I hold them by the leaf.
Okay.
Because if you it's less important when they're this size, but when they're really tiny, if you bruise the stem, you might lose the plant because they've only got one stem at that size.
Right.
And everything has to happen in that stem. So what I do is I handle them by a leaf, and when they've got this much root, I usually use my fancy, smancy, super specialized
gardening tool.
A butter knife.
Okay.
And I tuck them, I just make a little bit of a space, and you just tuck the root in, and then you fill the soil back in around. And that's all it takes. So I pre-fill the trays.
Okay.
And when you're filling your trays, whatever type of container you're using, these are secondhand, reused little 6-pack trays. That's what I just showed.
Yeah.
There's the fancy Lee Valley version, which is the same concept, but a rigid plastic for reusing year after year after year.
Okay.
And
yeah, because eventually this will start to disintegrate, this kind, right?
they will.
Yeah.
And when I send plants home with people, I actually take them out of the containers and they get wrapped up in paper.
Okay.
So I keep my trays year after year. But also, you can, fish through your neighbor's recycling bins in the spring and
You'll
steal
see tons
your
of them.
steal the trays. And a lot of them are good for several years of use.
Okay.
So if you're sort of growing a lot of little plants for yourself, steal some trays from people's garbage.
Yeah, so when you planted this one, you look at what you had originally, that's a lot of plants. So you're talking about like dozens and dozens of these that you're going to be putting into these containers, right? Okay.
So sometimes people are left going, okay, but I've transplanted 20, 30, 40, and I still have a pot full of seeds.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things you can do.
Okay.
One is the Ottawa Wildflower Seed Library has now set up their sharing spreadsheet for, I planted too many and they all germinated. I transplanted what I want, now what?
Now what do I do?
And even though I was careful with my sowing this year, I've still got a few pots that I'm like, okay, I transplanted 200 seedlings out. And actually a good example is this little pot of lobelia seedlings. This is it's a really pretty, it's the blue lobelia, it's native, these are all native. But they have tiny seeds, and they come up as tiny plants. And I've already transplanted 100 plants out of this pot.
My goodness.
So
out of that one pot?
Out of this pot, this
gosh.
exact pot, there is a tray, half of one of these trays full of seedlings. So that's the meditative part of standing there and transplanting one after another into the trays.
Yeah, don't think about it as work. Think about it as, taking some time to yourself. Maybe if you want, put on some music in the background. But if you're outdoors, just listen to the outdoors, right? You're sticking around for another segment because we got a few more things we need to teach you before you start doing all of this on your own. We've got the expert here to help you out. So back with Sandora right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam LaPrade. This is your official invitation to join me for an hour to give. We're going to learn all about Harmony House and get to meet an incredible woman by the name of Roberta. Join us then on An Hour to Give.
We know how amazing moms are, and just in time for Mother's Day, here's an opportunity to tell us how great she is and make her eligible to receive an exclusive makeover package. Just send us a few sentences telling us why your mom is so special and why she deserves a free professional makeover. The winner will receive an incredible makeover prize pack consisting of makeup and hair care services courtesy of Bruno Racine's Salon and L.A. Barrett. They have both worked with some of the biggest stars in North America.
Some of Canada's most interesting and accomplished people share their lives, careers, insights, and stories each week on Canada Files. I'm Valerie Pringle, and I'll be speaking with economist Mark Carney, actor Eugene Levy, author Louise Penny, and architect Moshe Safdie, among others. I hope you can join us.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Join us for the new season of Ottawa Storytellers, right here on Rogers TV. Welcome back with Sundora from A Cultivated Art, and we're talking about these seeds that we've been sowing all winter long, and what do we do with them? And you're just talking about an example just before the break of really, really tiny ones. So this was the one that you're talking about with the pot. You've already done 100 of them from one small pot, and you have some left. So these are more delicate, obviously, right? Smaller seedlings.
They're delicate, but they're actually surprisingly resilient. And this is the thing that I've learned over a few years of doing this is they want to live. Plants want to live. If you give them a bit of a chance, plants will live. So again, you need to be sort of gentle with them while pulling them apart, but you can work with these really small plants, and this is where my other fancy trusty tool is a chopstick.
The chopstick, yes.
Yes, because the chopstick does make this easier because you can sort of use it to help tease the plants apart.
Okay.
And you're trying to grab by a leaf, and you can, if you have a couple come up, you can sort of just then gently tease them apart. And for the small ones, I usually use a chopstick instead of the knife for tucking their roots in, and it's the same thing. You just sort of gently tuck the roots in and very gently firm the soil around, and you just do that over and over again until you've done
have exceptional
all
patience.
the seedlings that you need to do. Yes, but the amazing thing is, like, literally, I get paid to stand there and transplant seedlings.
That's true. That's true. You have a great job for sure.
Yes,
for
and
sure.
I usually get to do it standing in a greenhouse.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing, and it's most important with the really small seedlings, is to water them in the first time very gently.
Okay.
And so anything that will just trickle water out, but these nice spray ones, you can buy packs of just the tops from Lee Valley, and again, they're really cheap. Then you get like 4 different types. And, but just the first watering, sort of, I water around them, and it settles the soil down, so it settles it in around their roots, and then after that, you can just water them with a watering can or whatever.
Okay.
If you flatten them with the water, so they're stuck to the soil top, and you can't get them unstuck, just leave them for a day.
Okay.
Because they'll be starting to try to pull themselves up by then.
Yeah.
And then you can just go along and just basically just poke them with the chopstick where they're stuck to the ground, and they'll unstick.
Oh,
and then they're good. After that,
what's the danger if they stay stuck?
Sometimes if the leaves stay stuck to the ground, they can they almost like smother. They don't.
Right.
They aren't able to sort of recover from the transplanting. So just checking them the next day, making sure none are stuck down. The other really important thing that I like to tell people is, you think you'll remember, you will not remember. You have to label all the containers.
I've been there.
So label your containers. I particularly like these Fine Line Staedtler Lumicolor permanent pens because they don't fade when I put them on the the yogurt containers that I use for labels. Which there's a good example of that with. Actually, I think this isn't the exact label because I pulled some plants out of this pot earlier today. This is a pot of seedlings. So if you're absolutely like, you just don't get them transplanted and you're feeling really guilty, if you don't actually get them transplanted, you don't have to throw them away. So
those haven't been transplanted. They've been sitting out all winter.
These are last year's seedlings. So
Okay.
this is last year's seedlings, and what it is they spent all last summer and last year in the pot. And if I had transplanted them out, these would be big plants by now.
Really?
But
Wow.
they were all tucked in together, and they only had this much space, and they only got this big. But if I pull them out of this container, I can still, and this actually works better if you go past about midsummer. Sometimes the fine roots are really tangled, and they're also a little bit delicate still, so they don't always separate well. But if you then leave them until the next spring, the roots actually get tougher over the course of the growing season, and so they can handle a little bit more tugging.
Yeah,
apart.
you can tell that they're not nearly as delicate as the other two that you just showed.
They've got heavier roots. They're still tiny plants, but you can then tuck those into trays, and they will grow.
So how long do we leave them in these trays? Like, how often are we transplanting?
So what I tend to encourage is planting young, if possible. So I usually leave them to grow in these trays until they're grown up, and to sort of fill them out. So their roots have filled the little root cell, the soil part, and the tops of the plants, depending on the type, some form just a nice thick rosette of leaves right down close, or some grow a bit taller, and sort of when they're like 2 or 3 inches tall, they're just big enough that if you go and you tuck them out into the garden, and I know I'll be back next month to sort of show, and I'm going to actually bring in some soil. I'm going to show how to plant the small seedlings that are ready to go in the garden, and how to protect them from some of the critters. So things like the squirrels that dig them up, or the rabbits that like to come and chomp on them. But as long as they're tucked into the ground and they're protected from being eaten while they're still tiny and not quite resilient to being nibbled on yet, those small plants, they grow incredibly well when you put them out young. And you start putting them out same time you put your annuals out. And I've seen photos. I actually had to go back and double check to make sure the person who was posting the photos had actually bought the seedlings from me that spring.
Wow.
Because she was posting photos of some of the woodland asters and goldenrods that she had planted that spring, and they were all grown up and in full bloom.
Amazing.
And they started off as seeds that spring.
I just love that. Hey, you've got a Seedling Saturday coming up, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's an event at the Just Food Farm, which is over in Blackburn Hamlet, and there'll be lots of people there selling seedlings from different types. So a lot of vegetable garden, like a lot of food plants, but I'll also be there with some of the native plants I sell. I don't start selling these seedlings until sort of the long weekend in May, but I have some bigger plants from last year. So I'll be there with those, and while I send most of them out wrapped up in paper, somebody gave me a bunch of used pots last fall, so I have some potted ones, which is better for sort of sales on the moment as opposed to ordering and packing. So I'll have a bunch of native plants there, and I'll have a couple of the trays of seedlings as sort of.
And is there a seed exchange as part of that?
I think somebody might be running one. I think there's usually seed swap and things like that going on. It's usually quite a nice.
So bring your seeds if you've got some, right?
To
do a little
and
seed
not
swap.
Just your native plants, but also your extra vegetable garden seeds.
Wonderful. Always a pleasure. Well, we'll have you back in about a month's time. Looking forward to that. You can visit Sandora's website, by the way, at cultivatedart.com. She's got some fantastic videos available on there. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Heartbeat of Mother Earth, I feel you and embrace your warmth. I see you dancing through the trees. Your song floats on the summer breeze. Community, we come together. We are the voice of our ancestors. thankful for how much you bless us. Feel the thunder in the drum, all our voices sing as one. Feel the power, feel the pride, feel the drumbeat deep inside. Feel the boom, feel the bass. Let's let go of time and space. It'll make you dance, it'll make you sing. Ode Wegun, Wedok Wishin. The drum will lead you, take you far. Always remember who you are.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. I mentioned at the top of the show, if you have never been to Marie Antoinette in in Hintonburg, you are absolutely missing out. It's one of the most beautiful stores in the entire city, and I am joined by the owners, Audie and Tony Ziegler, joining me on the show. Welcome. Great to have you both here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Audie, I want to start with you because you fell in love with decor and interior design and decorating at a very young age. What was the inspiration for you?
I think I was a child, and it started off with Christmas, just because I guess it was just so sparkly and so whimsical and I was just drawn in from maybe the age of 4, and that's really where that started. And then it turned into this and Christmas.
I know, this is spectacular. So tell me the story of how you came to own this property.
Yeah.
All right, so it was my father. When he passed away, I inherited 50% of this building. And so I paid off my uncle, and I called Audie, who was living in Toronto, and said, if you come back home, because I love having my children near me,
of course,
we'll open up a store together. So I went ahead and I remortgaged my house. We bought a lot of inventory. What SKU are we up to now?
I think we're at 45,000.
45,000 SKUs, yeah.
For a small shop, that's a lot.
It's
right?
a lot.
But you're connected, right? So it's the Christmas store and Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Right.
Christmas, we'll have you back for that. But
Sure.
I want to talk about, because I was saying to Tony a little earlier, the stuff that you have in there are very much what my wife and I love, which is sort of that French country,
shabby chic.
How would you describe it?
French country, shabby chic, old world Paris, and then just a touch of whimsy. It's all kind of a melting pot of those subjects, and it's ultra feminine too. It just is. There's no other way around it. But this is what you get when you mix that up, right? Yeah, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, ultra feminine, but you know what? I'll be honest with you, Monica and I, when we work together, you know, we make sure that that we have something that we can both agree on, right?
Absolutely.
Because you know, I love pink just as much as Monica does. We just may because you know we both have maybe slightly different tastes. We come to a compromise on what we think would be a nice fit. Let's talk about what we brought, because I was just asking you guys, are you gardeners? And you said not really, because I have these beautiful flowers. Have they ever come a long way?
A long way. So right now, this is the hottest artificial floral in our store, and it's called the Real Touch, and it feels real.
Does it
They're made of rubber, whereas before, well, as these are, it's silk.
Right.
But the new wave of the florals is going rubber, and it just feels and looks real, and it has the weight of real flowers.
I know, that is amazing.
And it's the same with the roses that we saw at the shows that we went to when we go purchase for the store.
Really, eh?
The roses, eh?
Like
oh my God, you swear they're real petals.
Yeah, and it's just rubber. They figured out a way to really make them look so good. So we don't garden, and
you don't need it. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there that just don't have the green thumb. Tony, you were saying you love gardening, but listen, I'm just not great at it. It doesn't like you. Let's talk about some of the other features that you brought along here. Let's walk through them.
So this is a new line we've just started working with, and it's called Powder, and it's out of the UK, and it features velvet and embroidery together.
Beautiful.
So we have just like a small little pouch, eyeglass case, makeup case, and then a larger pouch, but just a nicer version of something that we're so used to having, but a step up.
Yeah, it must be so fun to curate the store.
When we go
Right?
shopping, we have to draw the line. And as you can tell, we have trouble with drawing the line, right?
It's pretty thin.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think it's, I mean, there's only so much space in the shop, right?
Right.
But we always think we can squeeze in
But,
another
well, like I
another
said, I mean, it is
collection.
packed. Like it's
packed.
like visually stunning everywhere you look.
Thanks.
It's so
We
funny
try
because
to
I
make it
remember
nice.
when we first started, it was only 2 stores. Okay, the
Right.
Marie Antoinette and one
Tinsel.
store for the Christmas.
Yeah, 2 rooms.
Tinseltown.
Two
2
separate
rooms.
rooms.
Right.
And then I
And-
remember there was this beautiful lady named June, and she had been there for years and years, who we loved so dearly when she
June.
passed away. But before she passed away, I said, June, would you mind putting your store in my other building next door? She goes, I guess the kid needs to grow. So I thought I gave him more space so that
did a
people
third-
could.
So we have a third room.
We're seeing the interior, by the way, just as we're
Yeah.
talking, the photos that you sent along. You can just see like everything from candles and soaps and the unique gift ideas. It's
a lot of home
amazing.
decor too.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know today we're featuring more of the giftware just because of Mother's Day, which
Right.
is Sunday, May 12th, just coming right up around the corner. But we do have a lot of distressed style home accessories, lamps, clocks,
lamps.
chairs, a lot of that.
And
yeah.
that Marie Antoinette collections
Right.
as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
So-
special. Well, let's walk through again. You've got
Sure.
some other
so
pieces
yeah, so right
here.
now, the Real Touch tulips, that's a hot one. Photo frames. Now, this is a good one for us. But it's
Beautiful.
also becoming a hard product to find because nobody is printing photos anymore. Everyone's saying, look at my kid, and they'll show you
Yeah.
their phone, right? So we have a nice assortment, not as many as we once had because it's not really in production as much, but a quite unique.
Yeah,
they're
they're
lovely, they're
beautiful.
Yeah, so-
But what I will say about photos is people are doing gallery walls now.
Right.
That's
Oh, yeah,
become
which looks
a
great.
trend, which is beautiful to see. And to use
Right.
like frames like this, where it's not
Different
only the
one here.
picture,
Yeah.
right? It's also the frame itself is
It's
a
like
piece of art, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's right.
I mentioned soaps. You've got some beautiful soaps
Soaps.
here as well.
From
I
Italy.
never thought that we would be in the soap business as much as we are, to be honest.
Yeah.
The bread and butter of our Marie Antoinette store is
soaps.
soaps.
Really, eh?
Yeah, high-end
A lot from
soaps.
Italy.
Yeah,
Italy, France, England.
Yeah.
Yeah, European soaps, yeah.
Beautiful, different
Oh, the
aromas
lemon,
that are, smell so beautiful.
Lavender.
Yeah.
And not only that,
rose.
but also the actual product is so well. It's
like triple
creamy
milled.
and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
You know
It's
what I
a
mean?
higher
It's not.
end.
Yeah, it's a higher end. So
Yeah.
Look at, I mean, speaking of gifts, look at these beauties. Tell me about these. Are
We've
so
got the
cute.
carousel, this guy here, which turns, and then
Turns
of
and-
course the traditional and
Ballerina.
old-fashioned
Oh,
yeah.
ballerina jewelry box.
Nice.
This is a hard one for us to always find, but
Yeah.
we finally
Really,
found
eh?
it. We've been asked. So we have a lot of nostalgic kind of product and stuff that people remember from their childhood.
Yeah.
And this is what we try and bring back because some of these items are just really hard to find now.
yeah,
you
they
know?
are. They're getting out.
People that love baking, love tea. You've got, look
High
at these
tea.
beautiful pieces.
We're seeing a lot of people coming in for
gorgeous.
doing high tea. They're doing high tea at home. So they like to come in for like the double-tiered tray stand. They can put the little sandwiches on, the teapots, and they'll have a nice big
I got so
party.
immersed in this. We're down to what? 15 seconds? Are you serious? Look, they got socks and watches
Oh my
and
God.
quilts and oh my god, look at these Kleenex boxes. I mean, just
tell them the
absolutely
story about
amazing.
that.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're
okay.
totally out of time.
Okay.
But come back. I
will,
promise.
for
I would
sure.
love to have you both back.
Thank
We'll be
you.
back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere. We know how amazing moms are, and just in time for Mother's Day, here's an opportunity to tell us how great she is and make her eligible to receive an exclusive makeover package. Just send us a few sentences telling us why your mom is so special and why she deserves a free professional makeover. The winner will receive an incredible makeover prize pack consisting of makeup and hair care services courtesy of Bruno Racine Salon and L.A. Barrett. They have both worked with some of the biggest stars in North America.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Join us for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, right here on Rogers TV.
Best you.
Oui.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Welcome back to the show. Oh my goodness, we continue on just things that are beautiful here on the show today. We go from Marie Antoinette to one of my favorite. He is the aristocrat of scent, Sid Kratzberg, joining us here on the show, talking everything fragrance. Back on the show. First of all, you look fantastic. You almost you fit into the decor.
I know.
From Marie Antoinette.
I was looking.
Right?
Peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love from Sid. Let's talk Mother's Day to start off, because what better gift than a gift of fragrance?
Mama-licious time.
Mama-licious.
And it's their special day.
Yeah.
You know what I always tell people? Flowers are gorgeous, okay?
Yeah.
Every woman likes to get flowers. Chocolates, too. But, you know, as my wife says, the chocolates I'm putting on weight. And the flowers look gorgeous, and then they die.
Right.
But a gorgeous bottle of fragrance is... Mwah.
It's lasting. And it's true.
Long-lasting.
It's a gift. It's a gift that will last Mom for quite a long time. I mean, sometimes, you know, a bottle will last you a year or more.
Fabulous. Right? It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
So what I wanted to do is, these are recommendations that I think are fabulous. And we're starting with the world of Oscar de la Renta.
Okay, tell me about what you've got there.
And Oscar de la Renta had they initially had that old fragrance that a lot of people still use, but a lot of the people who are using it are a little older than Sid, and I'm old, buddy. I'm old.
You're not
okay?
that old, Sid.
I'm old, but you should see what they've done. Bella Rosa. Now take a whiff of that.
Oh my goodness!
It has
beautiful.
Is that not gorgeous, Derek?
Yeah, and it's light too, right?
It's
not
light.
overpowering.
It's fabulous, and it has lily of the valley, which is amazing, and white Italian floral, one with roses, and this I absolutely love, Alibi.
Alibi
By Oscar de la Renta. It's fabulous with amber and vanilla, and that touch of vanilla is DDG.
And you know what? Actually, when they ask men what their favorite scent is,
Guess
vanilla
what it
is always near the top, if not the number one, right?
Always. Now I'm coming over to Versace.
Ah, Versace.
What could I say? You know what DDG is?
Drop dead gorgeous, my friend.
But I don't often say a triple DDG.
Well, okay.
Now wait till you smell this. Turn up the air. Because it sizzles.
Oh, wow.
It has been called the most gorgeous, sensual, feminine fragrance. And in the UK, it's been called the top biggest selling fragrance.
Really?
Fabulous.
It is really, really nice. That is beautiful.
I love that one. And the world of Moschino.
Tell me about Moschino. That's not one I'm familiar with.
It's an Italian luxury line.
Okay.
And look at the bottle. It's so whimsical. I know if I lift and touch it, he'll slap me.
I'm going to turn it towards Kevin's camera here, and he'll get a nice shot.
Take a shot of that bottle.
Isn't that cute?
Is that not fabulous?
That's part of this industry too, right?
The bottle.
Yeah.
It's all about the bottle
it's amazing.
too. And that has green apple and it has gardenia. It's fabulous. The other line that I absolutely love, we're going on a trip with Coach.
Over here. I'm going to bring this over here for Kevin to have a look at.
I love Coach.
What do you love about Coach?
I just think it's young, it's modern, and some of these are just absolute.
So is this kind of because when you sent me some notes, you said, Generation Z, right?
Generation Z is It's incredible.
Really,
I'm seeing
They're really
12-year-olds coming in. They are so knowledgeable and 13-year. But I have a little issue with them.
Okay.
And with Mama and Papa.
Tell me.
Well, they're looking at fragrances. I don't think a 12-year-old should be wearing a fragrance that a 30, 40-year-old wears.
Right.
And they're spraying the whole bottle. So I'm trying to teach them less is better. And the Coach for women is beautiful. There's Coach Floral. I love that with citrus and pineapple. And Coach Dreams has gardenia.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
And pear and wild rose.
Yeah,
with
that one.
Bergamot. It's fabulous.
Yeah, beautiful
so
scent.
These are some of my choices that I highly recommend. And for a woman who really likes that sweet fragrance, the world of Kate Spade.
Oh, yeah.
So it's called Sparkle. The name tells you what it's all about. Sparkle up your life, ladies.
How do you choose? I mean, because you do events, you work with people, you got a few events coming up. How do you help people choose a fragrance that's right for them?
You always start with, hey, are you still working?
Right.
And if they say I am, then right away that's the key.
Okay.
A lot of places, they don't like fragrance, but they're still wearing it, Derek. But just wear a light fragrance.
Right.
Then I would ask them their personal interests. How do you want to feel?
Right.
And I've had women say, I want to feel sensual. And you find that right fit.
Yeah.
I want to feel feminine. I want something fresh and light for the
So because we're going spring and summer, right?
Spring and summer.
This is sort of light and fresh, is that what we're talking about?
Derek, we all have more than one pair of shoes, ladies, and more than one coat. Then you should have a whole selection of
fragrances.
You got it.
This Thursday, you're at Shoppers at
I'm at
Fairlawn?
Fairlawn. I'm doing an amazing event. And on May 11th, I'm at doing a fabulous event at Earl Armstrong Shoppers with lots of gifts where I will pick out that fragrance. Guys, come and see me. And another thing I wanted to say, kids, put your allowance together and get a little body lotion for mom. She'd love it.
Agreed.
And then the end of the month, everybody, I'm at the most luxurious supper club in Ottawa, the Med. And we're having a Versace night.
Yeah, so you're going to be launching some new Versace
they'll be able
fragrances?
to try all the Versaces.
Okay.
They'll get fabulous gifts and a draw for one of the most luxurious gift baskets.
How do they find out more information on that? The Supper Club website?
Call
the Med Supper Club?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I haven't been yet, but I've heard rave reviews about the restaurant.
This will be my first time, too,
Okay,
Derek.
well, maybe I'll come and join you.
So it'll be awesome.
Thank you so much,
I
Sid.
want people, come and see me.
Come and see Sid. We'll
Get
be back with more.
Cidified.
Get Cidified. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts, a racist practice that may stop this Indigenous mother from going home with her newborn. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Treaty in Cree is Naskumitoin, an oral agreement. And our agreements were always spoken. For George Spence, the core of treaty was Wichihioin, to help one another.
And so we, the commissioners...
He was there for the making of Treaty 9, where the Cree were told...
We will honor this agreement together, for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
The Cree made their mark because they were assured that the land would be shared, and they would always be able to harvest what they needed. George Spence was my great-grandfather. In his life, he saw many promises of the treaty go unfulfilled.
Treaties were essential to the creation of Canada. First Nations still fight for the agreements to be honored.
Rogers presents the 2024 East Coast Music Awards, live from Charlottetown Thursday, May 2nd, starting with the red carpet at 6 p.m., followed by the awards show at 7. The East Coast Music Awards on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. I know we've had a lot of fun off the top of the show. We're going to continue the fun, but talk about a very serious subject, and that is pluralism and why it's so important to hear all of those different perspectives. We've been seeing a lot of division in the world, and certainly on social media and news items, and the Global Center for Pluralism is doing some fantastic work around the world, and I'm joined by the Secretary General herself, Meredith Preston McGee. Welcome. Great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Meredith, let's talk pluralism and the description. When people hear that, I think a lot of things go through their mind. How would you describe it?
Well, a lot of people don't actually know what it means, and that's understandable. The way we like to describe it is all of our societies are diverse. We're diverse in the language that we speak, maybe the religion that we practice, gender, our geography, our age, generation, and so forth. Pluralism are the actions that we take, the choices we make to respond positively, to see the diversity and difference in our societies as a strength and something that we can embrace to make our societies more prosperous.
So a little bit of the background then on the center. Tell me how it came to be.
We were set up as a partnership by the Government of Canada and His Highness the Aga Khan, with a view really that societies that do learn how to embrace diversity are more successful, more peaceful, more prosperous. Their growth outcomes are better. And so they wanted to situate a global center that could look at all of the best practices of that. And His Highness in particular really felt like Canada was one of the most successful experiments in pluralism that we've ever seen, which is one of the reasons he was keen to set it up here.
So the center does what to help initiate these conversations?
Well, it's a huge topic and a huge set of issues. So we work on a range of different things. First of all, we help people define it and understand it. We help people analyze and measure it in different societies. We do a lot of work on peace and conflict. When you think about violent conflicts that are going on around the world, really what they are is sort of the most extreme breakdown in pluralism in different places. So we do a lot of work on that. And a lot of work with education, helping young people really embrace how they would respond positively to difference in their own education systems and in their own lives. And then we also feel it's really important to demonstrate leadership and examples, setting examples in this way. So one of our flagship initiatives has been the Global Pluralism Award, which we've been giving since 2017. So we're now in our 5th cycle, and we give this award to individuals and organizations that are real champions of pluralism in their own communities around the world.
Can you give examples of a couple of past winners?
Sure. We just had our last award ceremony here in Ottawa in November of last year.
Okay.
And one of our winners is a network of Indigenous linguist activists from Oaxaca in Mexico. So imagine if you are in Mexico or any other society for that matter, and you're in the courtroom, you're in the justice system, maybe you've been arrested, and you don't speak the language, you don't speak Spanish. You don't understand why. Maybe you've been arrested, you don't understand what's going on in the proceedings in the courtroom. Oaxaca has 177 Indigenous languages, and most of the people there don't actually speak Spanish as well. And so they work as a network to support Indigenous people in the justice system in order to access interpretation and language so that they can advocate for their own rights within the system. We have another amazing documentary filmmaker who is one of our laureates this year. She's originally Norwegian, called Dia Khan, and she really focuses on how you begin to speak across difference, and particularly in extreme situations. She interviews violent extremists, white supremacists, violent jihadists, in a way to try to understand what is at the root of their radicalization, and trying through that to sort of build empathy and compassion and connection to both understand radical identity and violent radicalization, and then to try to see how we might be able to pull back from some of those approaches.
That's incredible. And you know, you sent, your team sent me a couple of videos that I had a chance, and it's the gathering of some of these award winners, some of these laureates, and what a community that you're building. I mean, that experience when these people get together, how magical is that?
Well, it's amazing, you know, because they come from so many different places in the world. And so last year here we had, as I mentioned, our colleagues from Oaxaca, we had somebody from Palestine, we had people coming from working in Somalia and different places, and being able to exchange ideas and realize, first of all, that they can learn an enormous amount of the diversity of experiences that we have there, but also that some of the issues that they're facing are similar, and that they can find some solidarity. Because as you mentioned at the beginning, you know, we are becoming more polarized. We're seeing a real pushback against these issues. And so having a network of leaders that are working on this together, I think it really helps them as well see that there are others in other spaces that are facing some of the similar
and
issues.
This conversation too, I think, is so incredibly helpful as well, because I think people, we're living in sort of, we're a global world, but we're living in these silos now where we're sitting on our computers and we're sharing, you know, the different ideas on what we think the world should look like, or people should look like, and people should act. So the fact that you're here today is incredibly important, just to open up the conversation, hopefully around dinner time. You brought a couple of things along with you here.
I did, because we had just launched the nominations for our 2025 Global Pluralism Award.
Okay.
And we really do rely on people around the world to help us find leaders in pluralism. And one of the things that's really exciting is that we're able to identify individuals and organizations that maybe don't get the spotlight.
Yeah, of course.
There's a $50,000 cash prize for the 3 winners, and then we have 7 honorable mentions, and we work with the entire cohort of awardees every cycle. And so I did bring you some of our propaganda for the next round of the awards.
So what's the nomination process?
Well, if you go on our website, it's an online nomination process.
Okay.
People can apply directly or be nominated, and then we work with the nominees themselves. We develop a short list, and then we have an international jury that selects the top 10. Our former Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Joe Clark was the chair of the jury for 3 cycles, and has been a really phenomenal guide and mentor to the process. And our jury is now chaired by the former Foreign Minister of Jordan, Dr. Marwan Washer.
All of these stories about past award winners, are they available on the website?
They are, and there's videos around a number of them as well, because I think we really see pluralism is a big issue, and a lot of us often feel like there isn't a lot that we can do.
Right.
And each of these stories, I promise you, will make you realize that there are choices and actions that you can take in your lives.
And incredibly encouraging, because as I saw some of these videos, I just it was almost refreshing.
Yeah.
Right? You sort of sit back and go, oh, people are doing amazing things, and we're not talking about it enough. Thank you so much, Meredith.
Great. It's
really
a pleasure
appreciate
to be
it.
here. Thanks.
We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere. We know how amazing moms are, and just in time for Mother's Day, here's an opportunity to tell us how great she is and make her eligible to receive an exclusive makeover package. Just send us a few sentences telling us why your mom is so special and why she deserves a free professional makeover. The winner will receive an incredible makeover prize pack consisting of makeup and hair care services courtesy of Bruno Racine's Salon and L.A. Barrett. They have both worked with some of the biggest stars in North America.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam LaPrade. This is your official invitation to join me for an hour to give. We're going to learn all about Harmony House and get to meet an incredible woman by the name of Roberta. Join us then on An Hour to Give.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
Join us for the new season of Ottawa Storytellers, right here on Rogers TV.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. You'll recognize my next guest if you're tuned into Ottawa 67's hockey here on Rogers TV, which I know you did. A great season that they had and a promising season ahead. But today with my next guest, we're talking some pickleball. Colin Zappia joins me. He's with the Ottawa Pickleball Classic presented by CHG Meridian. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me, yeah.
This sport, I mean, I got into it probably about 5-6 years ago. My floor director plays 4 times a week. Like, it has exploded in popularity, right?
It's gone crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell people all the time that I used to play in high school, which I went to high school from 91 to 95 or 90 to 95. I don't even remember. I'm too old now. But we played pickleball in high school.
Yeah, I found that
And everybody
hard to
is saying, there's no way you did. And I'm telling you, we played pickleball in high school, and now it's just exploded. In the U.S., it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
All these former pro tennis players are joining the circuit, and in Canada, it's growing rapidly as well.
It's amazing. You mentioned the States, because when I went down to visit my father and my stepmother, when they were snowbirds, we went down and they had a pickleball court, right? Like right around the corner from their place. And I said to my dad, like, what are they doing out there?
Yeah,
he's like, oh, you haven't heard of pickleball?
It's a cross between tennis and ping pong and squash and all sorts of things combined into one. But it's a game where it doesn't really matter what your skill level is. You can pick it up very quickly. And, we watched some people play last year at the RA Center, and men and women and all different ages, and they are absolutely going crazy at each other, hitting the ball as hard as you can. It doesn't travel that fast, which is nice.
Yeah, a smaller court too, although you play sometimes on a tennis court, but they have the lines that are small.
It's a fun game for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the best part about this classic is you're raising funds for a great cause. Tell us about that, Colin.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I joined the board of the Ottawa Heart Institute Foundation, and I just thought, maybe there's another way to engage people, get some more awareness out there. And we originally had looked at having like a networking event. But there's so many across the city, and they just kind of get mundane after a while. And I just started thinking one night, what about a pickleball tournament? Because I had heard that pickleball was taking off in the States.
Yeah.
And we just pivoted, and that's exactly what we did. And we had the first one last year at the RA Center, raised just over $30,000, which was amazing.
That's fantastic.
And so we're doing the same thing this year. We partnered with the City of Ottawa. We're having it at the Aberdeen Pavilion. And registration's going really well. We're over 60 teams right now, so
nice.
It's going to be a lot of fun on May the 5th.
So how does the fundraising portion work?
So it's $100 a person to register, and then what we're asking is that people fundraise. So like you're doing a marathon or a run or something like that. So teams are now fundraising, and we've got a great prize for the top fundraiser. And we've got a whole bunch of kind of raffle gifts and a big day planned on May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. So that's the theme, right?
Yes.
So what do you encourage people? Because I know some people will be competitive, right? And they're going to have fun, obviously, doing it too. But there'll be a lot of rec players that are going there.
Yeah.
And the idea is dress up maybe in that theme?
So that's the one thing we had last year. We got people to dress up in whatever they wanted to come in. This year it'll be the Cinco de Mayo theme. We'll have people do the same thing, get dressed up, play pickleball in their outfit. And we'll award a prize for the best dressed team like we did last year. But the goal at the end of the day is to raise some money for the Heart Institute Foundation and raise awareness as well.
There are a lot of organizations that you could have approached and said, hey, I want to be a part of this organization. Why the Ottawa Heart Institute Foundation?
So we just passed the 17th anniversary of my father's death, and he died of a heart attack. So when I got into real estate, Sutton was very big with the Heart Institute.
Okay.
They had a program where we could donate money with each sale, and it would go right to the Heart Institute. So I kind of started with that, and then during Heart Month, I would do something else, raise more money or donate more money if a home sold in February. And then it just kind of built from there. Met some great people at the Heart Institute. joined the board, ran another event in 2019 actually with a friend of mine whose father also passed away from a heart attack, and his dad and my dad grew up together in Cornwall.
Really?
And we raised almost $60,000 with that 24 hours of golf event. So it just kind of snowballed, and joined the committee of the golf tournament that they put on, the Wilbert Keon Memorial.
Right.
Now I'm chairing that event, and also the co-founder of the pickleball event. So I'm right in with the Heart Institute
Your dad must have been young.
He had just turned 60 that year, so yeah, it was. And I was in Florida with him the week before, so it was quite a shock when I got the news.
I can imagine. And then, how fortunate are we though to have the Ottawa Heart Institute? I mean, this is. This is one of the best in the entire world here, in our own city. It's
world class, and being a board member, we've been taken on tours, and you get to see some of the things that they're doing, the research, and it's incredible. I mean, the technology that they have right now is unbelievable, and it's only going to get better. And the doctors and the researchers and the chemists and everybody that works there is just so dedicated to making sure it's a world-class organization, and it really is.
If you're not playing pickleball, I mean, obviously you can still go and cheer on your favorite team. If you're helping out fundraising, it's open to the public, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's the first day of the Ottawa Farmers Market as well, so it's going to be busy down there already. Then we're going to jam another couple hundred people into the Aberdeen Pavilion. But yeah, feel free to come by. It's a licensed event. We're going to have a bit of a party afterwards.
Nice.
Blue Cactus is providing some food, and we've got some suppliers that have given us some.
Have like your own patch, like they do in curling, right?
It's going to be a patch for sure. It's going to be some tequila, I think.
Colin, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
and
having me.
congrats on
Appreciate
another great season with the Ottawa 67s. You and the team did such an amazing work. The Ottawa Pickleball Classic, Aberdeen Pavilion, May 5th from 12 to 5:30 p.m. OttawaPickleballClassic.ca for all your information and to sign up. Make sure you sign up now, okay? We'll be right back after this.
I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Join us for Season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, right here on Rogers TV.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Hey, maybe you've heard we've got a fantastic contest we're running right now. The deadline is May 5th at midnight. If you've got that special mom in your life and you want to treat her to something incredible, here are all the details for you.
We know how amazing moms are, and just in time for Mother's Day, here's an opportunity to tell us how great she is and make her eligible to receive an exclusive makeover package. Just send us a few sentences telling us why your mom is so special and why she deserves a free professional makeover. The winner will receive an incredible makeover prize pack consisting of makeup and hair care services courtesy of Bruno Racine's Salon and L.A. Barrett. They have both worked with some of the biggest stars in North America.
All right, so go to rogerstv.com/amazingmom. Again, a reminder, the deadline for that is May 5th at midnight, so make sure you get that in. Big thanks to all of our guests, Audie and Tony from Marie Antoinette. Again, if you've never visited the store, it's absolutely spectacular. You can find them at 1096 Somerset Street West. Seed Living Saturday at Just Food Farm, that's out in Blackburn Hamlet. Saturday, May 11th, they'll have an exchange program with seeds as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time here on Daytime.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
everybody. My name is Karen. I'm here with my best friends Shane and Monique. Join us on Rogers TV for Fitness Faction. Every week, we're going to take you through a full body workout. We've got strength training, we've got cardio, we've got HIIT. Ladies, let's get back into it.
I think we've got 10 more skaters. Let's go.
We know how amazing